Welcome to the Jeremiah Patterson Show, and thank you for joining me this Tuesday. We're going to be starting a new series here on the show where we interview effectively up-and-coming Democratic candidates who are rising all across the country, be it in running for state or just for your local offices or running for the school board. There are a lot of them out there, and they really should get a platform to share their stories, to promote their campaign, and essentially to tell the people about their work. We're living in a time where the tide is changing, and also there is a major shift as there is an appetite for leadership that is more resistant and for leadership that is quite effectively just really hearing out the people in terms of their needs and everything that's going on today. So one of the first candidates as part of this new series is Brit Robinson. In 1995, Brit Robinson was born on the 29 Palms Marine Corps base in California. She's the daughter of a proud military family with deep roots in service. Her relatives served in the Navy, Army, Coast Guard, and Marine Corps. She spent most of her childhood with her mother, her summers with her grandparents in Florida, and time with family around the Washington, D.C. area. Her grandmother worked on Capitol Hill for more than 40 years, and Britt still remembers sitting in the gallery as a little girl, watching Congress in session, seeing democracy up close. Before starting high school, life would take a difficult turn. Her mother got sick and could not afford health insurance and was unable to work, so she had to pull from retirement savings to pay for medical bills. They relied on food assistance and public transportation, and eventually lost their home, which resulted in her having to move across the country from home to home of family members and friends. And this happened all the way until she graduated high school. She said, quote, "The experience of becoming a caregiver as a child and losing everything due to a family member's illness left a lasting impact." Later, she apprenticed with renowned artist and activist Richard Dorado, an experience that shaped her understanding of social justice and the power of art to inspire change. She went on to graduate from the Maryland Institute College of Art, debt-free thanks to her father's GI Bill. As a military spouse, Britt moved often, taking on jobs in retail, design, and legal aid, and she got deeply involved in military family support groups, serving as both president and board member. It was last year that after a year-long job search, Britt was accepted into a position with the United States Department of Veteran Affairs as an interior designer to improve VA clinics. She was set to begin that job, but then Donald Trump took office, of course, and he implemented a federal hiring freeze on day one. And so many people have been affected by what the Trump administration has been doing in terms of eviscerating the federal government with the Project 2025 playbook, as well as the authoritarian actors that are in this administration. And she was one of them. And it was not just this, but it was also after the big evil bill was signed into law, Republican Congressman Aaron Bean gleefully celebrated the moment. He wrote here on Twitter, quote, "Buckle up, Florida 4. The one big beautiful bill is officially law." Brit Robinson responded under his post on Twitter by saying here, quote, "And I'm officially coming to take your seat." Brit Robinson is determined on running a people-powered campaign and joining the resistance movement. She is one of the more fiery candidates, which is strongly needed as Democratic voters are having an appetite for that right now in terms of if you're going to join the resistance, you got to be fiery, you got to understand what's going on, and you got to be willing to fight. And she is all of that and more. Of course, she's running for Congress in a district that's been solidly Republican for more than 2 decades. Much of this territory was once represented by Democratic Congressman Charles E. Bennett before redistricting in the early 1990s, reshaped into what is now Florida's 4th congressional district. In 2024, Republican Aaron Bean won here by 15 points. And it is not necessarily impossible to win this district because if you look at the trends incrementally in District 4, Democrats have been gaining over the years. Like every year, they don't win this district, but they've been gaining more and more points and support in District 4. So it's not impossible, politically impossible, to flip a district that is went for Republicans by 15 points. It's 100% possible. And she is here to tell her story, what her campaign is about, and what she thinks of the current political landscape. This is her first formal media interview. This is Brit Robinson, a candidate for Florida's 4th Congressional District. Joining me now for the interview is Britt Robinson, a Democratic candidate for Florida's 4th Congressional District. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
What motivated you to run for Congress, and what do you hope to accomplish if elected?
Sure. So, I, at the beginning of Trump's administration, I had a pending job offer with Veterans Affairs to be an interior designer for the VA clinics outside of Chicago. And when Trump took office, they put in the hiring freeze and they rescinded my offer. That led me down a long path of learning more about this administration, what their goals were, what the goals of the financial backers of his campaign, what they wanted to see in this country, and seeing the devastation that they were planning for the American people, the people that were going to be harmed. I felt a calling to get involved. I believe that the privileges that I have would protect me for a time, from the changes that this administration would be enacting, and that those changes would affect my friends and my family and our communities, far sooner than they would me. And I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I could sit idly by and not get involved. So that's what led me here.
You're running in a district that's been solidly Republican for more than 2 decades. Much of this territory was once represented by Democrats before redistricting back in the early 90s. In 2024, Republican Aaron Bean won here by 15 points. Given that history and also the district's current lean, do you believe you can close that gap? And it's definitely possible, as I alluded to kind of like in the introduction, with this district here. Are you doing anything in your campaign that's been different in a way that Democrats have done over the years to win this district, to connect with Republican voters?
Yeah. There's a couple points in this district, and this can be said more broadly across the country. There's a lot of people that didn't vote. So I want to make a point of saying I do plan on having conversations with Republican voters in the district. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to see if we can find common ground. I believe that we have a lot more in common than we have differences as far as our daily lives, and that I believe for the most part, most people want their families to be safe and fed and housed and have health insurance. And so hopefully I can have some productive conversations with them on that. The campaign, I would like to see if we can reach the people who aren't involved in politics in this district. The NPA, we have a large number of NPAs or independents, and a lot of people who, like I said, just didn't vote. So I would like to try and reach those people. I want to figure out, specifically in this district, why are they not involved? What are the factors that are leading them to not feel like they either have a voice or XYZ, whatever the reasons are. My goals, this campaign just started, but my goals for this campaign as far as, how will it feel to the district is I want to have community focused events. I would like to make sure that that the campaign itself is giving back to the community, that the effects that we can try to create long lasting change in the community if that go beyond this campaign. That being, are we getting more people involved in the political process? Are we getting more people involved in helping their community and their neighbors? Any of those systems, if there's ways that this campaign can help that's my goal right now.
You're running against the co-chair of the House Doge Committee, who's also blaming the government shutdown on the Democrats when in fact Republicans have control of both houses. What do you make of your opponent and his tactics to be hardcore Republican, even over the concerns and the needs of his constituents in this time?
I think Aaron doesn't have a spine.
Hmm.
I think Aaron has proven that he is only there to rubber stamp what he's been told to approve. We know this specifically because when the big beautiful bill, big BS bill, was being pushed through, he and a number of other legislators signed a letter saying that they were going to that they would sign on to pass the bill prior to it reaching their desk. So they weren't going to do their job and read the bill and make sure that the effects would that it would be a good outcome for the American people and for this district. And he didn't do that. So I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I believe that I can be that person to bring about that change. I am willing, or I not even just willing, I want to hear people. I want to connect with the community, with the district. I think I have a lot of the personal experiences to be able to sit down and have those conversations in a genuine, authentic, real way. It's not hypothetical for me. I've lived these situations. And so that's something that I don't believe Aaron can say.
With the relatability factor in your story, it seems as we have more people who are running to be, in office, to be politicians that are not your everyday, current Congress officials where you have, people coming from like families that made six figures or people coming from families where, their fathers or mothers were in corporate America. It's the relatability factor where you have lots of everyday Americans who are just running for Congress. How do you plan to use your story, also that relatability with other Americans in your campaign to connect with voters?
Well, my background, the when I was in high school, I was living with my mom as a single mom, and this is 2008, 2009, and I was going into my freshman year of high school, and she got sick, and we didn't know what was happening with her. She had pre-existing conditions, so she couldn't afford health insurance at the time. And, even though she had savings, her retirement savings and such, that wasn't enough to solve her medical issues. And that resulted in us needing to rely on food assistance. And we ended up losing our house. I had to move across the country to go live with friends and family to graduate high school. It's experiences like this that prove that I have I want to say, like, it's not just the understanding, like I said in previously, it's not just the understanding, it's that I feel it.
Mhm.
There's so many emotions that go along with being in those circumstances. There's a lot of shame, there's a lot of guilt, there's um, you feel there's a lot of times where you feel very disrespected. And that's I think those are some of the points that people want to feel seen. There so many Americans are struggling, and that's not even an accurate word, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
desperation. And what are you supposed to do when when you can't when you just straight up can't afford your life?
Hmm.
um and it's terrifying seeing that this administration is also was in DC. We saw them targeting homeless populations and disappearing them also. That's a big concern for me. And so I would like the district and the communities to understand that I'm with them on that. I get it. Um, and I think especially because my opponents, don't they don't have those experiences.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully that's something that I can connect with people about.
As you said, there's so much desperation, especially in this moment going into the holidays. We know that because that the government is shut down, nearly 1 million federal workers have been furloughed, about 4,000 have been fired. SNAP and other essential government programs will go dark next month without funding. And yet we see that the Trump administration is focused on destroying the East Wing of the White House for a ballroom, effectively stealing $230 million dollars from our Justice Department and bailing out Argentina's economy, and then giving Kristi Noem free private jets. There is such a distance in terms of this administration's relation with the American people, despite pretending to run on being a voice for the working class when it's the opposite.
Yeah. I think it's disgraceful what this administration is doing. There's, I think Republicans right now, in Congress, I'll specify, Republicans in Congress are on this high horse talking about civility uh, and that trying to blame Democrats and blame all of this on Democrats. When, like you said previously, they hold the power to make change. They hold every branch, basically. So I don't, I personally don't see that there's any way to perceive what they are doing as intentional cruelty.
Hmm.
There's no way to see it. I mean, to not put forth, uh, cover it like funding to cover SNAP going into the holidays. I mean, at any point, truly, at any point, because hunger is hunger, people need to be fed. There's no reason why anybody should be hungry or homeless in this country. We can afford that. Also, healthcare. We can afford all of these things if we tax billionaires. But it is incredibly angering. Makes me livid to think about that they are trying to twist the narrative to put the blame back on the people that are suffering right now.
Mhm.
Like I said, I think that's disgraceful. So they have the chance to fix this, and it's on them.
And as far as your campaign initiatives with regard to the cruelty that we're seeing right now, and a lot of your campaign initiatives really do touch on this, such as, healthcare for all, as well as, just some very, very strong initiatives that I feel are very beneficial for the working class. Can you speak about that a little bit? And I mean, as one of the things that I have a problem with is people thinking that something like healthcare for all and a lot of the initiatives you have on your website, like free and fair elections, like I have a problem with people viewing those almost as radical ideas. And
Mhm.
it's super easy because if you just tax billionaires, I mean, you're still going to be rich at the end of the day. We're just asking you to share the
Yes.
wealth. So I do
Mhm.
express and share your exasperation at that.
Yeah. It's like something I say is that the American dream has now become a fantasy sold to us by billionaires and corporations. That has to change. We have to be able to have a future in America. And it's not just the working people because, there's a lot of people in this country who, for whatever reason, aren't able to work. Whatever the circumstance, I truly don't care. We should not have people who are suffering in this country. If America is supposed to be the greatest country on the planet, why are we not have like why do we not have free college, free healthcare, easy access to healthy food? Why are so many people sick? The medical debt, personal medical debt is the number one cause of personal bankruptcy and homelessness in the United States.
Hmm.
Shocking. I mean, not shocking if you've been there. I have, but all of our counterparts, our allies, they all have at least affordable, if not free healthcare. And like you said, this isn't radical. It's not. But these are by the American people not having access to these safety nets, and I wouldn't even say all of them are safety nets, they're just benefits of living in America.
Hmm.
These are the tools by which they can keep their boot on our necks
Yeah,
and keep us working and slaves to the system. And I don't mean that in a light way, using this term, using the term slaves, that is exactly what some of these people in this administration want to do. They want to bring back true slavery, chattel slavery in the United States. They want that back.
exactly.
And we have to talk about these things honestly. I don't I hate saying that. Like it's not about honesty. This is the truth. Like this is what they're doing to us. And this is if we don't fight back, if we don't speak about like what their goals are, what they're doing, what they have talked about for years, we're doing a disservice to ourselves and our futures.
Hmm.
I think it's, putting a nail in the coffin of our futures if we don't talk about it. And like I said, I can't sit by and watch that happen.
One of the reasons I wanted to invite you on the show to talk is because one of the things that I found consistent throughout your content and just informing people is that you're one of the more informed candidates on Project 2025 and the authoritarian groups and individuals that are backing this administration. And I feel like a lot of people think that it's just Trump, but it's this whole plethora of individuals that are extremely
Mhm.
dangerous and that have a backup plan, even if JD Vance were to become president. Um, what do you think should be the effort going forward in terms of informing the public about that, but also countering that as Democrats?
Like I said, I think we need more people speaking truth about the situation. Every single Democrat in Congress should be out there every single day, and I know a number of them are, but every single one of them should be out there making a statement every day talking about the people that are behind Trump. He's awful and he's doing awful things. But there's also a lot of other hands, like we said, a lot of other hands like pulling the strings here. And so I think that's one. I think our media needs to get their shit together and
Yes.
start holding these people accountable. I mean, it's bullshit. Sorry. The that we need to stop doing this whole two sides have equal I can't think of the word, that they are equally as important or valid
Mhm.
perspectives. Sorry. If one person's saying, one side is talking about how we want to starve the American people right before Christmas and Thanksgiving, and say that people are going to lose access to their health insurance because they can't afford multiple thousands of dollars, and there's no other option for them to get health care. Like that's not valid.
Exactly.
We need to stop saying that is an acceptable opposition to the fight that we're putting forward. It's
Yes.
not. It is
With re-
incredibly frustrating watching. Sorry, just
no, you're
it's
good. You're
just
good.
incredibly frustrating watching how controlled our public media has become. And so I appreciate the work that you're doing and all these other independent news outlets are doing, because we need to be having these conversations. And if the big media isn't going to be having them, then we have to find other ways of doing that. Looping in, if any of the influencers or creators online that have large platforms, or don't care if they are political or not. Everything at this point is political.
Yeah.
You need to get in the fight and you need to do something. And if you're not doing something, then you're starting to become part of the problem, or you are
Yeah.
part of the problem, or you've been part of the problem. And that's how we are. That's how we got here. So, at least partially. Yeah. So anyway, people need to get in this because it's going to be, I mean, we're literally in the fight for our life with this administration. And if we don't put respond with a strong force, we don't want to see what that future is going to be like.
I do agree that the resistance has to continue to grow and to be consistent, and also that there needs to people have been using this term, there needs to stop being sane washing almost that you're seeing by corporate
Yes.
media, effectively normalizing what the other side is doing. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
can't view that we should have starving children and we should end foreign aid programs. You cannot view that as a normal
Mm-hmm.
point of opinion anyway. It just it's cruelty.
No. Yeah. It's cruelty. And
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 also
even
to your point about you know, as you called it, which I have to use this, the big BS bill.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
To your point about
Yeah.
that. I mean, it's cruelty on that level, but what's also enraging, I feel, is the level of gaslighting that they're doing to say
Oh my
that
God. Yes.
we're not cruel, you guys are.
Yeah. Mike Johnson up on his stump. I mean, that man is the biggest gaslighter currently in this government. And it's frustrating watching. They're trying to use somebody who uh is can be a slick speaker
Mhm.
to, like you said, gaslight the American people, and it's bullshit. All of it's bullshit. So
To those who are just hearing about you for the first time and watching this interview,
Yeah.
What would you say to those who are perhaps interested in your campaign and who are interested in learning more about you?
Yeah. So you can go to my website. It's Brit four, number four. Oh, and I should say Brit, BRIT, one T, just one. BRIT for Congress.com. I have my platform is on there. We're building ways to volunteer or get involved. Uh, we'll have like if you're not in the district, we'll have ways that you can also get involved through phone banking or things like that. So if you're at all interested in helping the campaign, or just want to follow along, you can sign up for the email list. I think that it's uh, follow us on social media also. That super helps. But uh, given how they're controlling media right now, we don't know what the future is going to be as far as are we going to get completely blacklisted from media sites? We don't know. So if you can sign up with your emails, that'd be great. So we can have a backup. I don't trust this administration with platforming campaigns going forward. We do see that already. We see a number of, well, pretty much a lot of people that are talking about politics or campaigns right now are getting shadow banned, and it's making it very hard for us to get the word out. So share as much as, like I said, sign up on our websites, campaigns. I'm not the only candidate that's running on this platform. I would love your support, but also there are candidates like me in every state. Maybe not quite every district, but there's a lot of us. This is a big movement pushing for significant change to make American life, not just doable, but enjoyable. And that's how it should be. So find your candidates. Help me if you can, but also find your candidates. We're out there.
Once again, my guest is Britt Robinson. She's a Democratic candidate for Florida's 4th Congressional District. Thank you so much, and I look forward to having you back on the show.
Yeah, thanks. I would love to come back.
Once again, that was my interview with Britt Robinson. She's running to be a congresswoman for the 4th Congressional District of Florida, of course, running there as a Democrat, as we are seeing resistance movements all across the country. And once again, this is just the start of this series. So I was super excited to interview her, and I'm excited to bring on more people as well. Once again, be sure to check out her campaign website to learn more about her, as well as her campaign initiatives as she continues this race here. Thank you everyone so very much for watching this episode on the Jeremiah Patterson Show. Please be sure to comment your suggestions, questions, or your thoughts on this video. If you're a fan of the show, please recommend it to your family and friends. You can also support us financially by donating to the Jeremiah Patterson Show, as this is independent journalism and we rely on your donations to continue this crucial work. Another way you can support is by becoming a paid subscriber to our website, TJPSnews.com, for just $7.99 a month, $75 a year, or $150 a year as a member of the Founders Club. I will see you again this Friday for the TJPS Evening News Show at 8 p.m., where we have a whole lot to talk about. There is a lot lined up. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Jeremiah Patterson Show, as well as sign up for our newsletter at tjpsnews.com so that you don't miss out on anything regarding updates to the show. All right, if you have any questions, news topic request, or want to do a collaboration, you can email me tjpsnews@gmail.com, and I will see you again this Friday.